I was not prepared for his laid-back, dad-jokey vibe at all, and I wanted to see more of it. It's got a great The Office-style vibe to it that could make for a fun show, in my opinion, especially with Matt hating his existence the whole time. Poor Matt being stuck in the weird sex stuff department. Welcome back to another episode of The Rank. I'm John, and today we're going to be ranking another episode of The Good Place. Now, if you're enjoying these episodes or you're just a fan of The Good Place and you enjoy consuming content about it, please consider subscribing and or following. Like the episode, comment. You can reach out to us at info@therankpodcast.com. Send us suggestions, questions, whatever. I will respond. Please also consider becoming a patron on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast. Now, today we're ranking the 9th episode of the 3rd season of The Good Place titled Janet's, written by Josh Siegel and Dylan Morgan and directed by Morgan Sackett. Now, for any of you out there who are new to the show, just want to give you a rundown what to expect from the show. We start off with Potent Notables, which are just some interesting facts or tidbits that we found out about the episode or series. Then we go into the episode overview, which is just me talking about the episode in general. And then we go to the rank, where I rank the episode in 5 categories, and that leads us to the ultimate ranking. And the idea here is to figure out what is the best sitcom of all time. So we take a sitcom series, I rank every episode of that series, and then the average ranking for the series is what we end up with, telling us what the score for the series is. For sitcoms that aren't new, which most of the ones I'm ranking are not, I'm not going to worry about spoilers because they are accessible via streaming services. So if you want to watch The Good Place, do it on Netflix. But let's find out how this one stacks up, starting with the Potent Notables.
Potent Notables.
So this episode aired Thursday, December 6th, 2018, and it just keeps going down from 2.686 million last week to 2.567 million viewers this week. I genuinely don't get it. I'm beginning to question my own taste.
It's not good.
I mean, it dropped 800,000 from its Superstore lead-in. Now, I've watched all of Superstore as well, and I remember it being fun, but I don't remember thinking it was anywhere near the caliber of this show. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, that could be.
I am curious to hear what you guys think. I suppose if you're watching this, you probably like The Good Place, but we did get one comment from somebody who said, I watched the first few episodes and I didn't like it. Am I crazy? Is it me? I mean, Antonio doesn't like it either, although he didn't watch from the beginning, so he's just, he doesn't fucking matter.
Well, I remember that.
Anyway, at least it didn't do that much worse than NBC's 9 o'clock show, Will and Grace, which only had 2.859 million viewers. And as for competition, it got beat by Charlie Brown's Christmas on ABC, which had 5.247 million viewers, and Young Sheldon on CBS, which had 10.908, which actually beat Fox's NFL Thursday, which had 10.761, so it just barely beat that. Okay, Antonio, okay, I'll tell them. Jesus.
No! Somebody stop him!
It was really a shitty game between the Jaguars and the Titans, in which the Titans won 30-9. So again, I apologize. Antonio forces me to put that in there. If you like football, there it is.
He lies.
So if you're wondering what won the night, what show won the night, it was The Big Bang Theory at 12.521 million viewers. That show was a freaking behemoth. Now, when Eleanor Janet, because obviously if you watch the episode, all the characters, Janet is each character. So they're like their own character, but in a Janet body.
So good and not confusing at all.
Anyway, when Eleanor Janet begins to look like other people, the first person she changes into is played by Monica Padman, family friend of Kristen Bell and her husband Dax Shepard, as well as his podcast co-host / producer. So Eleanor Janet transforms into a total of 30 different people. Only the first 7 people have a credited speaking role. Now, with D'Arcy Carden playing all 4 of their respective main characters for most of the runtime of this episode, Kristen Bell, William Jackson Harper, Jamila Jamil, and Manny Jacinto only appear in the final 4 minutes. Stephen Merchant, who plays Neil, the head accountant, is seen with a coffee mug that says Existence's Best Boss, which is obviously a play on World's Best Boss, the mug from The Office, which Stephen Merchant was the co-creator of the UK version. And finally, at the beginning of the episode, Michael says, "How's the hair? Is it still amazing?" So Ted Danson, who plays Michael, obviously, as Sam on Cheers, was always worried about his hair. So it was a fun little referential bit. So those are the potent notables. Let's go to the episode overview. So as this show often does, we start the episode right where the previous episode left off, in Janet's void. We open on Michael feeling giddy about being in the void with no side effects, but the glee is short-lived as we find out that Chidi, Eleanor, Tahani, and Jason have all turned into Janets in appearance, though they're still them. The thing that struck me right away is, wow, this is going to be a tall order for poor D'Arcy Carden. She's going to have to act as if she's all four of these characters as well as herself and be convincing. My opinion is that she did amazingly well with it, but I felt like Eleanor was the least effective. She had Chidi's exaggerations and mannerisms down well, and Tahani's narcissism and Jason's ridiculousness. Actually, I thought she was the best at being Jason. If I were to rank them, it would go from best to, well, not as best. Jason, Tahani, Chidi, Eleanor. I'm curious, did you all out there get the same feeling? Was Eleanor the weakest to you, or do you think I'm wrong? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, while the four fake Janets stay in the void, the real Janet goes with Michael to see the account, played by Stephen Merchant, who was just perfect for this role. I was not prepared for his laid-back, dad-jokey vibe at all, and I wanted to see more of it. It's got a great The Office-style vibe to it that could make for a fun show, in my opinion, especially with Matt hating his existence the whole time. Poor Matt being stuck in the weird sex stuff department. Michael's going to present his theory to the accountant, and just as another aside, who would want to see this accountant being the same accountant in the Ben Affleck accountant universe?
Nobody.
Right? I mean, you know, it'd be kind of fun. Okay, back from the digression. Michael's theory is that the bad place is tampering with the point system, which Stephen Merchant is certain is not true, but he humors him anyway. While Michael and Janet investigate the point system, the four fake Janets explore the void, with Jason going off with Tahani for most of it, so that we can have the conversation eventually between Chidi and Eleanor about their love. Chidi is deflecting from talking about his feelings so much that Eleanor starts to have a crisis of self-identity. Eleanor's never chased a man around like a puppy, and she doesn't understand why she's willing to keep being vulnerable for Chidi's sake. The crisis, while almost destroying the void, also leads to Chidi finally acknowledging his feelings for Eleanor. Now, I really wish they had built to this moment a little better. There were never any furtive glances or anything leading up to this until 2 episodes ago, when Eleanor got to see that she told Chidi she loved him in a reboot, and that he said he loved her back immediately. Now, I enjoyed Simone as a character, but I think it diluted the Chidi-Eleanor dynamic a little bit. Again, am I the only one who felt this way? It's funny because the first time I watched the series, I don't remember feeling this way. But in doing a rewatch with a more critical eye, it's hitting me different, which stinks because I really love Chidi and Eleanor together. But back to the accountant's office, we get a shocking realization. Nobody has made it into the good place for 521 years. The craziest part to me is that Neil, the accountant, doesn't seem to see anything strange or wrong about this. But his ambivalence leads to Janet realizing that Michael is going to have to be the one that solves this. And Michael comes to this conclusion eventually as well. And that's where we end the episode, with Michael's new resolve and purpose. I really enjoy the world building here, but I don't know if it translates to a great sitcom episode. So I guess we'll find out. Let's go to the rank.
A rank.
So the rank is where I rank the episode based on 5 categories: story, acting, dialogue, episode coherence, and character relatability. I rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times that the episode made me laugh out loud. 1 point per laugh out loud gets added to the score. Now, before I dive into the rankings, if you're enjoying this episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help us grow the show. So the first category, though, is story, which I gave a 4. The story is that they get stuck in Janet's void while Michael and Janet try to figure out what's going on with the point system. The B story is that Chidi and Eleanor have a sort of existential crisis. It was good. Finding out that nobody's made it to the good place in 521 years was a really fun plot point that raises it for me. So let's go to acting, which I gave a 4.5. So this is double-edged because D'Arcy Carden's role was incredibly challenging in this episode. On the one hand, she did really well. On the other, not all of it was great. I'm grading on a curve here, though, because they asked a whole lot of her. So let's go to dialogue, which I gave a 4.25. It wasn't a super funny episode. Most of the laughs it got from me in this episode were kind of borderline, but my rule is that if it's audible, it counts. So despite it not being as funny as it has been, I gave it some extra points for the world building. The idea that nobody is getting into the good place for centuries is just a lot of fun and a very cool premise, in my opinion. So let's go to episode coherence, which I gave a 4.5. Really good. I'm still having trouble with this version of Chidi and Eleanor her being in love. I mean, it's nice. It's really nice. I like it. But it feels so much more forced this time. Other than that, though, it's perfect. So let's go to character relatability, which I gave a 4. They're all super relatable. My only problem is the accountant. I just don't see how he wouldn't have seen a problem with no one getting in for 521 years. So that's it. There's some pretty decent rankings, actually. So even a slightly decent laugh counter will keep it into the high tiers. And my laugh counter was a 14. So pretty decent laugh counter. That puts the episode total at a 35.25, which means it's Holy Grail. And that puts the series average at a 38.2, which is in the Holy Grail. So thanks for listening and or watching. If you'd like to see a list of our episode and series rankings, you can do that on our website at therankpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, review, and comment. And please consider supporting us on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast. And if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like. It really does help us out. And I will leave you with this. Why was everyone but Jason uncomfortable in this episode? Because Jason's very comfortable in Janet's void. If you couldn't tell, that was a cringe from my own joke. So there you go. Now, when Eleanor Janet, because obviously, if you watch the episode, all the characters, Janet is each character, so they're like their own character, but in a Janet body. So that makes that I just made it sound more confusing than it is. You can leave that part out.
No, I don't think I will.